back at my computer. Hello. First reading vlog of the year. I haven't done this in a while, so it's gonna take me a little bit of time to reacclimate. I think the last video I did was in the summer, but I'm excited to do another one here. I just finished yesterday, actually. I finished a book, pat on the back to me. It was Rewind It Back by Liz Tomforde, the 5th book in this series. I've read, I think, all of them at this point. I think I gave this one like a 3 stars. I think it more so had to do with the fact that it took me a month to finish this, but when I was in it, and it was actually pretty good. But I think the overall gist of it, it's like a 3 stars. This is purely because of personal reasons too. I think it might be because of the format. See, this is my thing. If you've seen any of my other videos, I talk about this a lot. The past and present timeline, it's a hit or a miss with me. This was unfortunately a miss. I just didn't really care. I get what it does for the story, but personally, I have to be in a certain mood to like it and to enjoy it. So this time it was not it. I will say while we're here and while we're talking about it, I would like to rank them. If you don't know what the series is about, this series follows this friend group of athletes that live in Chicago and their love lives and whatnot. So the first one is Mile High. I like that one. I think I gave it a 4 stars. I think most of these are a good 3.5 stars. They're not bad by any means. They're just not big standouts for me, I guess, if I'm gonna say something about it as to why I'm not giving them 4 or 5 stars. They're good if you're looking for a good time, but they're just not my favorite. I think that's the easiest way to say it. I liked Mile High. The Right Move is the second book. I like that one. I think I liked that one. Maybe that was a 3.5 one. Maybe it's a 4 star. I don't know. Caught Up. It's fine. Play along though. Play along. I loved me an obsessed main character. Isaiah in this, magnificent. I am just the biggest fan of Boy Obsessed. I think it's magnificent, muy delicioso. I don't know how else to describe it. It's so good. It's the yearning, maybe, for me that just really does it. So I would say if I'm ranking these, Play Along would come at number 1, The Right Move number 2, Mile High number 3. I think it's a good average, you know. And then maybe Caught Up and then Rewind It Back. It has to do with that formatting that I'm just not into right now, I guess. I think if I'm gonna recommend one you read first, it would be Play Along. It's good. It's good. Trust me. All right. A Boy Obsessed. Anyway, talking about Rewind It Back, because I finished it yesterday, I completely saw the plot twist coming. I mean, it's good. You know, it's good that you can predict a plot twist. I predicted it. I'm just like patting myself on the back because I never really predict plot twists very well. I feel like my thing with a lot of romance books recently has been that they don't have that third act conflict, which sometimes I feel is needed. You know, I think this one could have had it, but it's okay that I didn't have it, you know. I do love a no third act breakup or argument, but this one I feel like warranted it. Could have, I don't know. I liked Rio and Hallie. I thought they were cute. I think the relationship aspect of it and how they came back together written out very well. It's not a standout for me. So that's it. 3 stars for this one. Otherwise, I'm crossing my fingers for this. I started The Probability of Us by Elizabeth-Jade Taylor, I think. This book, if you could see it. I like it so far. I'm only 1 chapter in, but I do like it so far. I feel like first chapters really do set the bar for me in how I'm going to continue them. I thought I was going to read the DC Star series by Chelsea Curto. Look, Chelsea Curto books are a hit or a miss for me. I think I read maybe 2 or 3 of her books. Not standouts. Again, not big standouts, but they weren't bad. However, I think I've said this before in one of my videos. Sports romance books just have a certain aura to them where it could either run very good, very mediocre, or not that good. Most of them are in the mediocre, not that good area. See, now I just sound like a fucking hater. Trust me, I love romance books. I love sports romance books, all right? Like when I'm needing a good one, I will read a good one, all right? I just feel like I've been in such a reading rut for such a long time that I've been rereading a lot of things, and I really want to stop that and read new things, but it's just so hard because it's like the finding of it and then the reading of it, and you're like, do I want to commit myself to this? Do I want to just like go on to something more? It's kind of been like that the past few months, and it's been a bit annoying because I didn't reach my fucking reading goal. And it's a bit annoying. Let's go over it, because I'm not gonna do a wrap up. I'm not gonna do a favorite books of the 2025 year because I just didn't read a lot. She was going through some stuff, all right? Leave me alone. All right, let's talk about it. Goodreads here. We set a goal for 40 books. I read 14. Don't even. All right, like I am so disappointed in myself in a sense that I have been doing so good the past 2-3 years, and like I really hit a rut this year. Things happen. Yes, I get it. Things happen, but come on. Let's talk quickly. Shall we just go through the list? I've talked about some of them in a couple of my videos, so by chance you've seen my other videos, you would know what I'm talking about. First book. Oh my god, first book I read last year was Funny Story by Emily Henry. Totally forgot about that. It seems like years ago. Holy moly. Funny Story. I think I gave that 3 stars. I explained this in the video, one of my vlogs. Second book I read this year was the Raven Boys graphic novel. 4 out of 5 stars. It's just never gonna compare to the novel that has so many of my favorite things in it, but it's still good. I read an arc because my coworker had gotten the arc and lent it to me. So I read the arc and then I actually got the book, the actual graphic novel. Beautiful. Amazing. The third book I read was The Wingman by Stephanie Archer. Also just okay. Next one was Failure to Match by Kyra Parsi. Actually really love this one. Again, I think I talked about a lot of these books in my videos. I liked it. I think this is the one that did need a third act though. Next one was A Deal with the Bossy Devil by Kyra Parsi. See, okay, my thing is it's coming to my mind now. I like Kyra Parsi, okay? I think her writing it does the genre justice, okay? I'm not a fan of A Deal with the Bossy Devil. I do like Failure to Match though, and I started reading the third one, but personal preference here, I don't like it when couples that are supposed to be couples are mean to each other at the beginning. And it's very different from like a rivals to lovers or an enemies to lovers or a hate to lovers. It's usually the male characters. In 2 of these, it's 2 of the in the first book and the third book, it's the guys, and it's the guys like enacting this sort of like revenge on the female main character, where it's kind of icky in a sense where they morally in a sense mess with them. I don't know if that made sense. It leaves me with an icky feeling that I can't really overcome and think, yeah, they could be a couple that I'm rooting for. I don't think that's my kind of thing. So I didn't hate A Deal with the Bossy Devil, but it did make me feel a little bit icky. Next one was my first Julie Soto book. My first and only Julie Soto book. I swear I'm going to read another one. Forget Me Not. I actually really like this one. But the comment that like gets me every time I think about this is, I think I saw it on Goodreads. Someone said, "Why is this man wearing skinny jeans?" Bless. I love you. I just don't think I would have ever really thought of that. I just kind of read and go about these books and then skinny jeans. That's stupid, but it's funny to me. Okay, you don't know this, but I am my own comedian. The next one was me dabbling again into historical romance. I'm still not the biggest fan of the genre, but I don't hate it. I'll read it if I'm intrigued and in the mood for it, but I'm just not always reaching for it. But Beast Takes a Bride by Julie Ann Long. I think I talked about it. I liked it. Didn't like the little side stories. It ruined the main romantic plot for me. And I actually like the main romance plot. The next one was another Julie Ann Long book. It started with a scandal. I like this one a lot more, though. It focused on the primary romance, which I loved. And she's I can fix him, girl. I wag my finger, but when I'm put in that position, she's a fighter. I think I like that one. The next one I read was a graphic novel called Oasis by Guo Jing. I liked it. It was good for a middle grade graphic novel in which people who are that age can really think more in depth and develop more complicated questions that they could ask and explore more. So I don't know if that made sense, but yeah, I think I gave it like a 3, 4, star. Next one is I Am the Cage. I think I talked about this one. This is the one I didn't give my thoughts on, unless I did. I Am the Cage by Allison Sweetgrant. I liked it. It kind of went in a direction I didn't think it was going to take, but I did like it. It was a mix of prose poetry. I'm not the biggest fan of poetry, but I didn't hate it in this one. I actually really liked it. It wasn't the most memorable thing I read this year. I think that's all I can say. Next one was A Guest in the House. Again, I also talked about this one by E.M. Carroll. I liked it. Again, went in a different direction than I thought it was going to take, but it wasn't bad. Good horror graphic novel. Next one I read, Great Big Beautiful Life. I did a video on this. I honestly did a video about a lot of these. So if you want more in-depth thoughts, they're somewhere on my channel. Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I liked it. Wasn't my favorite Emily Henry book. It was fine. That's all I can say about it. Next one, You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hoggle. A reread for me was one of my favorite romance books, like a 5 out of 5 stars. 3 out of 5 stars this time. Oh, how devastated I was. But it's okay. We've moved on from it. And then the last book I read in the 2025 year was Gloves Off by Stephanie Archer. I will say, I think this is the #1 book on my list. Stephanie Archer, you are a hit or miss for me. And it just makes me feel alive when it's a hit. I loved Gloves Off. I love this kind of banter between two characters. And it's fantastic. The growth of it. Amazing. Fantastic. I love this one. All right. I think it's a good hate to love kind of workplace romance type of thing. Muy magnificent, bitch. Yeah, it was great. I think I gave it like a 4 out of 5 stars, 4.5 out of 5 stars. Really good. Really good. Love this one. It was fantastic. That's it for my reading challenge from last year. Very anticlimactic. I swear to God, I'm gonna do better this year. I keep saying that my 2023, I think, year was like my best year. That is because I was jobless. She was unemployed, okay? So I had all the time in the world just to do things. She was unemployed. She was friendless. She was scheduleless. All the things that required me to like be in isolation. She really leaned on books. God, did she have the best time of her life. Oh my God. That was the year I read the Greenbone Saga. I read Sword of Kaigen. I just I had like the best. You Don't Have a Shot? Girl. You Don't Have a Shot. Last Night at the Telegraph Club. She was having a year. It was fantastic. Oh my God. She would never get that back. And I'm quite sad. I'm yearning for it again. I'm yearning for it. Maybe not this year. Maybe next year. I'm going to hope for this year, but I don't think it might be this year. I don't know. She felt so alive at that time. And I'm really yearning for it again. So we're setting goals here. Okay. I actually haven't set my goal for this year yet. Let's not be ambitious. Let's say like maybe 20 books. I did 14 last year. I think I can do 20 this year. Yeah, if we just like really commit. I'm already 1 book down, so I think we can. And I'm already starting another one. I think we can. I think with my new job too, I have a lot more time to read. So I think there's that. And I'm really gonna just like commit myself to this. You know, if I'm gonna commit to one thing, it's gonna be this. 20 books. I think we'll do that. But this reading vlog is me reading. Let's actually try to finish a book. Let's try to finish our second book. It might be the book that I mentioned. It might not be, but we're gonna end this video when I actually do finish my second book. So that's what this is. It's been about a month, but I'm happy to report that I finished a book. I got back on my sports romance because Stephanie Archer released The Wild Card, so I had to read The Wild Card. It was fine. I think I gave it like a 3 stars. I think it really resonated with me just because of the things I'm going through right now. It resonated with me in that sense where Jordan's personal arc really just gave me a lot of like emotions and I felt a lot of weight with it. Nonetheless though, it was a little bit confusing because I didn't know what the dynamics were, and if you're reading this kind of as its own standalone, not along with the whole series, and this is your first time going into it, I would also be confused too because you don't have the context of Tate and Jordan's sort of pseudo relationship before their actual book. So I think it was a little confusing there. It feel like once Jordan really kind of gets on board with working with the Storm, that's when the relationship between Tate and Jordan, you know, the dynamics there, it starts to get a little clearer. It was hard for me to decipher a little bit. And the way I read books is like the way I read a script. It's kind of embarrassing to say. You're playing it out. You're actually kind of seeing it. And so with the emotions and kind of reactions that they were having to each other, it felt very hot and cold. So it was a little confusing, but I think once we got 30% into the book, it started making sense. But it was a struggle. It was a real big struggle just to get past that 30% because I think it took me maybe 2 weeks just to get 30% of the way in. And I was like trying to read it. I eventually kept coming back to it because I know that this is just kind of what Stephanie Archer does. But it was hard. I just don't understand with this series. It's always a hit or a miss. And it's like every other book. I'm not joking. Like, first book, I have just this like deep-seated dislike for Jamie and Pippa not for some reason. I know the reason. It was their love story was just so bland. Even with their little small cameos, I guess, if you would call that, in the other books in this series, it's like there's no flavor there. It really is just like so bland, and every second that they were on the page, I could care less about them. But yeah, the first one I didn't like. The second one I liked. The third one was fine. The fourth one I actually really, really liked. I think that one was Georgia and Alexi. Then this one, the fifth one. I think she's going to write a sixth one, and I think that's going to be with the intern and Luca. We'll see. I have hopes for you, Stephanie Archer. I just don't know why it's always a hit or miss. I would love it if they were all hits, you know. I don't know. Overall, it was a 3 stars. It wasn't bad. It wasn't amazing. It was just fine. I know I said I would end the vlog once I finished a book, but a lot of things have happened within the last month, and I just haven't recorded a lot, and I haven't really updated a lot, so there's not a lot to this, and I'm already like halfway through another book, so I'm just gonna kind of keep reading and then see where this vlog would end. But let's talk about the book that I'm reading right now. I'm actually really excited for it. It's called Strictly Pleasure by Carrie Elks. Right there, if you can see. This is a series. This is the second book within the series, and I'm actually really liking it. I have come to the conclusion since reading this that I really, really like romance series that revolve around a family. So it's like if a family has like a bajillion siblings, we get to see all their love stories. Don't get me wrong, I love a good sports romance, and I like the stories that we get to hear from different people within like a sports team. It's just a little different when it's a family, all right? Like, there's just something to it. I think it's just, and I know this is like all hooey stuff, but the dynamics of this is the eldest child, this is the middle child, this is the youngest child, you know, like that really plays into how they act and how they go about things and how they find their love. And I think it's just so fun. Like if we're thinking about the Brown Sisters trilogy, where we got to see the different dynamics of those 3 sisters and kind of just how alike but how different they are too. And it really feels like you're coming home to this kind of story that makes you feel familiar and comfortable. And I really like that. And I also think of like the Kane brothers, that like Dreamland series that I was talking about with, I can't remember who wrote it, but I'm pretty sure if you've been within the adult romance space, you would know what I'm talking about with those 3 different brothers. And I also really like how a lot of those series play out, because usually the first book, it's about the youngest and the youngest finding love, and then usually the second book is the oldest, and so then we get to see like the polar opposite of that dynamic, and then we hit the middle children, and it's just chef's kiss. Amazing. I think that's how you do a romance series that revolves around this one family. It's just amazing. And I think I've read quite a few romance books that have followed one family. I think of the Chloe Lease series. I think of, again, the Dreamland Billionaires series. There was also the other Stephanie Archer series about like the Cove, you know, and I just think that is amazing perfection. Because there's always like that one, I don't know what it would be called. I don't know what literary device it would be called. I can't remember it right now. But there's always that like one, I think it's one motif that pops up in all of the books. And it really is just like, oh yeah, this is like, we're gonna get the ball rolling on this, okay? But talking about strictly pleasure, I actually really like it. It's really fun. I will say though, my one thing I am not a huge fan of right now is how fast we kind of move into from animosity into kind of we're friends now, because this one follows our two main characters, Liam and Sophie. They had not the greatest meeting, and they are godchildren to the first book's couple. So they have to try to get along. And, you know, there's quite a bit of argument, animosity between the two of them in the beginning, maybe like 20%. And then once we're kind of away from that, it's like barely there. It's barely there. I'm wanting like 50% in, we're still fucking hating each other. But 30% in, they're starting to kind of get to know one another and become friends. And then eventually, I will say, I do like how normal sized this book is, okay? We're pushing off into different tangents, but we're coming back into this, okay? On the 50%, they have already done things together. And so I am curious as to how the last 50% is going to play out. I mean, I already kind of know, like, I mean, it was explained in the book what's going to happen in the last 50% of this book. I just would have liked for that hate aspect to kind of pop up or to kind of drag on a little bit more. I think that's what makes a good hate to love romance amazing, because then from there you kind of start to realize it's like very much a Pride and Prejudice type of thing, you know, like you hold so much judgment for a person because of certain things and certain situations that you've been pulled into with this other person, and you don't really get to know them deeply. And then once you do, by chance, then you kind of start to realize, oh, I've completely misjudged this person. I feel like I need to do some introspective thinking and really not judge this person, you know, with what I know. I have to continue growing my mindset for this person. But otherwise, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I will say I'm actually really excited because I had this on my TBR list for a while, and I was always just kind of like, well, whatever. I love it. I'm delving into another romance series, and this is great. This is fantastic, you know, because I feel like if one book is good, there has to be another one that's good. That's kind of my update right now. This is mostly just for me, but if you would like to listen, you can, and you know, not skip this part. I find it cathartic to kind of talk about things in this sense, more so just talking out into the void and seeing what hits the wall and comes back at me. I recently quit an activity that I have been doing since I was maybe 7 years old. If you didn't know, guys, I'm 24. Her frontal lobe was almost done developing, okay? With this being a new year, I want to learn to explore a little more, because I feel like that activity was just very time consuming. As much as I love it, I do find that it makes me miserable a lot. And I don't want that for myself. There's this one really good quote that I love. Maybe I'll put it here if I find it. And it's basically along the lines of, every year I tell myself that it's gonna get better, it's gonna get better, it's gonna get better, and it never gets better. The one common denominator has always been this activity, and it just really is draining. I love it. I have found so much joy and community and a lot of passion, and I've learned a lot too. Like, this is not something that comes easy to me. It's something that I've had to really work on for a lot of years in order to feel like I was even adequate. I feel like that really goes into a lot of activities. You're not good at first, but then, you know, eventually after time, you sort of just get used to it and you learn to master a couple things. And so it feels really weird, honestly very sad, that I spent so much time devoting myself to something that I really worked hard on and just kind of letting it go. And, you know, I like had been sitting on it for a couple months, but it just never felt right. But I always think about the changes in my life, or those things, you know, that are kind of inevitable, where eventually I'm going to have to find a new job. Eventually I'm going to have to graduate and figure out life from there. And it's, you know, something that's not predictable, but something you just have to work through. I always say to myself, the only way through it is through it. and it is true. You know, I think this year is going to be a lot of thinking and a lot of sitting with myself and learning how to grab my life by its balls. I'm going to have to really learn who I am without it. And I feel like I've done a good job at not completely revolving my life around it. It's just been this one thing that I have devoted myself to, but I can completely detach myself from it. I feel like that's one thing I've done really good throughout the years, is not making it my whole personality. I feel that in that sense, it's easier for me to let go. So yeah, this is gonna be a big learning year for me, and I'm actually really excited. This is my quarter life. I'm genuinely really excited. You know, like I said, I am sad about it, but I feel like the possibilities in where my life could go are so much more worth it than staying in a place where I'm like 60% not happy. I just kind of wanted to talk about it because I don't know if ever you stumble upon this video that you will ever feel some type of way that I'm feeling. I wish you luck on your journey, and it does get better. I think, you know, finding different avenues is always really good. Change is always really scary, but change is always good. I feel like it allows you to explore different versions of yourself too. You know, the version who I've explored within this activity, not a big fan of her. So I want to explore different versions of myself where I can actually learn a lot more. I think that's also one thing that I really like about growing older. I feel like it's always been this concept that society is afraid of, where it's the concept of getting older. You know, people have their own different views on it. My view is that I really like getting older. I always think to myself that like getting older just means you get to know yourself a lot more. And I find that to be such a comfort. At least for me, I feel like a lot of times in my life, I have felt very angry or repulsed by the idea of people perceiving me, I guess. For some reason, I felt this like deep-seated anger, like, you don't know me. How dare you make an assumption about me? And then by the end of it, I was always like, well, do I even know who I am? Is possibly this anger just like rooted in something else? And that is me psychoanalyzing myself. But I feel like I've slowly learned how to get to know myself. And I think it's just the most beautiful thing that I've ever done for myself. Like, I know what fabrics feel good on my skin. I know what my favorite food is. I know what my limits are. I know how I like to spend my time. It's amazing. I don't know. I love getting older for the fact that I get to know myself a lot more, and I get to cater to myself a lot more, and I get to push myself to the limits that I didn't think I would be able to push myself to. I just love getting older. I think it's the most fantastic thing ever. I know it's a very terrifying thing for a lot of people. If I'm comparing my life to 13-year-old me's life, I love this life more than what life I was living at 13. I will just say, I would have never imagined myself at this point at 24 living the life I'm living right now, but I absolutely love it. I don't ever want to go back in time. Like, I genuinely don't. I also don't want to go into the future. You know, I really like this life. It's heartbreaking sometimes. It's disappointing at times. It's great at times, you know? That's what life is. But I don't think I would change a lot of things. That's just a little life update. I'm gonna end the vlog here. I'm gonna talk about what else I've read. So I ended up finishing that Carrie Elks book, Strictly Pleasure. What a plot twist at the end, okay? It was a huge plot twist. I mean, yes, there is a certain conversation around, like, I'm not going to spoil it because I kind of don't want to dig into that discussion because to each his own, you know, it really is to each his own. Like, it depends on your view on it. But jump scare, I would not have thought that a romance book could make me like react this way, but there's a first time for everything. Okay, I will talk about the ending of Strictly Pleasure. It was fine. Like, the entire book is fine. That first maybe like 30, maybe 25% of the book where they're actually at each other, probably the best part. I don't know why Carrie Elks doesn't expand on it, because I think there also could be growth within their own relationship if they were still butting heads. You know, you could make it work. In my head, I ended up finishing that one pretty quickly. Yeah, what a jump scare. Oh my god. And also the twist, because now I've read 2 Carrie Elks books. She's very good at making the twist very jaw-dropping and not very mediocre. It's very much jaw-dropped. Oh my god, what? And it's great. That's what I want from a romance book. Drama. That is what it's supposed to be about, you know? I know there's a quieter sense of love, you know, when it happens in those kinds of stories, but sometimes I don't want that. Sometimes I want the drama. Sometimes I want the ante. You gotta up the ante. All right. So I gave Strictly Pleasure 3 stars. Like I said, it was fine. Liam and Sophie had good chemistry. I think overall it was just fine. If you're just looking for a easy romance book, this is one. And I think that's the thing that I really like about Carrie Elks. I've been reading a couple reviews about people, you know, talking about these books. I don't know. I just sometimes just want a fun, silly romance book. Something that's not too serious, but still has all the melodrama and has really good romantic connections, you know? I will say I've only read 2 books out of the 6 books in this series. From what I've read so far from book 1 and book 2, they deliver that. They deliver just the melodrama and the good romantic tensions. I will say, again, it's just that butting heads needs to be expanded a little more. And having read the first and second book, I can really solidify that. It really needs to be expanded because I feel like it'd just be more fun. And I feel like we would get a better understanding of the connection a little more. So talking about Strictly Business, this one follows the eldest brother Miles and the other main character, female lead, Ava. And she's trying to get pregnant. So you can assume what happens. I will say, I think if they had butted heads a little bit more or just had a little bit more substantial characterization, then I feel like the dynamic between Miles and Ava would have been a lot stronger. And then with the progression of the relationship, it just would have really solidified why they work as a couple. I feel like they're gabbing a little bit too much, you know, a little bit too much nice talk. I mean, I get that Ava's supposed to be this kind of sweetheart, but she did get a little feisty, and I wish we would have been able to see that a little bit more, because then she would be really, really headstrong and feisty with him, Miles, and then with other people she's like so nice and he's just like, I don't get it, she's nice to everyone but me. And you know, we could have had that tension a little bit more, but it's fine. Again, this one was just fine. I don't think there was a lot of standouts. It was just fine. The twist though at the end, like the third act drama, whatever, jaw dropped, love it. Oh my god. I mean, you could probably read it and think, oh, that's not the biggest issue. Let me tell ya, that shit hits real fucking hard, all right? It hits real hard, and it makes you question a lot of things about yourself, and it doesn't feel really good. So that was the good drama that I liked. Again, that was a 3 out of 5 stars. I'm reading the third book, Strictly for now. And again, I have to say, there's not a lot of substantial characterization. I feel like they flip-flop too much. They don't have strong personalities. It's not to say that they're supposed to be softer characters. They're not supposed to be soft characters. They're supposed to be very headstrong, very aggressive, kind of coming forth. And I'm not really getting that. It follows the third brother, Eli, and a consultant, Mackenzie. This is a sports romance book, all right? I would like to say I'm a little bit more experienced, so I know what to expect, and I know how things should play out, and I know what I like to read within sports romance books. Okay? Not a veteran. Okay? I'm just saying I'm a little bit more experienced. And so far, it's fine. I don't know. I feel like a lot of sports romance tend to be very cheesy. This is just fine for now. But like I said, they're both at opposite ends of whatever goals they have. And they're butting heads. Again, this is the kind of like hate to love type of thing. And I'm not really getting that. My big gripe with a lot of romance books is this attraction first. And it's usually like horny sexual attraction first. Like, I could see the cleavage of her shirt with that low V-neck. Surely, I would love to have some hope in men that this is not the first thing that comes into mind. But you know what? I've been disappointed before. So if this is how it is, then I'm sorry. But like with romance books, can we just have a little bit of pretend here? I'm just not a big fan of this attraction first, even though we're kind of at like opposite ends. Again, it could totally be played out. It could play out as in, oh, I'm attracted to you, you know, maybe we could fuck a little. And then I find out that you're trying to take over something that belongs to me or that I'm heavily involved in and try to change it. Then I'm like, okay, like this, I don't like you anymore. The attraction has been thrown out the window. I purely fucking hate you now. I feel like that would be such a good dynamic to go through. And again, I didn't write this book. I just feel like that's what this book needs, because they're not strong characters. They're very wishy-washy. And it's not like, oh, they'll grow into their characters. Like, I've read 2 Carrie Elks books. I know how it goes. And so I just wish that hate dynamic was there a little bit more, because I feel like then you can really produce a lot of good drama and a lot of good relationship building. I'm just saying, I love a good hate to love or enemies to lovers arc if it's done well. I feel like I've read a couple of good ones, so I know how it should play out, how it should feel, you know? I'm still gonna read it, obviously. I finished the first and second book. Duh. I feel like with these series, it usually falls off at the fourth or fifth book, or even the third book. So we'll see after this. I'm not gonna continue the vlog and try to finish them all. I will finish them on my own time. I'm actually kind of flying through them and am really invested whenever I come back to them, which is a really good thing, because I feel like I haven't been able to do that with a lot of romance books last year. So it's good to get that feeling back, and this is a good series to kind of get me out of my slump. But I will finish in my own time. I don't know when I'm gonna film another vlog, but it was good to film this one. I will say I am actually really surprised and proud of myself that I finished not one, not two, but 3 books. I think that's a huge feat. I am currently at 4 books at my 25 books goals. I chose 25 and it feels good. I'm hoping that I can still keep this ball rolling. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, thank you for watching. I will catch you guys in my next video. Goodbye.